So even trying to describe my life is confusing. I feel like my life has been a crazy choose your own adventure where I'm now where I am and I have no idea where I'm going to end up. It goes from dreams of being a football player, a journalist, a psychologist, a bartender, a salesman, a playwright, a photographer, and so far a filmmaker. I say so far because hell, by next year I might mainly consider myself something else. Like I said, it's been a choose your own adventure where I've explored a crazy amount of possibilities. I'm the youngest of three and have the greatest older brother and sister I could ever ask for. We are spaced fairly far apart, so it's almost like my sister raised my brother and my brother raised me. And that probably explains why we're the whitest Asian kids you'll ever meet. So I looked up to my brother growing up, and when he was in high school, he played football, and I wanted to be just like him, so I wanted to play football. So here came the first decision in my choose your own adventure, and that was to be the next Emmitt Smith. Fortunately, not that my family was poor, but we couldn't really afford to put me into football. Eventually, I got to play in high school, and that was an experience. I assumed I'd walk in there and be the best thing Canada's ever seen at football, and that wasn't true. I joined the team and became a bit of a punching bag, and I earned the nickname All-Star, but it was given to me ironically because I was really bad. So my next big life choice was to quit football in the middle of my senior year. Yeah, I probably should have stuck with it and tried to prove something else, but I didn't have the energy. So you have to understand that up to this point, I had zero plans in my life other than becoming a football player and beating Emmitt Smith's rushing record, which by the way was 18,355 yards. So this actually started a really bad downward spiral in my life that nearly destroyed me, so naturally, this was the perfect time to fall in love. My first real love coincided with a change in my life that was pretty dark. I began to hate everything, and unfortunately, she had to go through that with me. I was going to school to become a sports journalist as my fallback plan, but despite what seemed like a promising start that led me to being a sports editor for my university paper, that fell apart too when I realized I hated doing it. That eventually led me to make the worst decision to try to end it. All of it. I was taking antidepressants and I tried to overdose and end my life. So the girl I was in love with, well, she did save my life and managed to get me to the hospital. I spent some time in a safe house, and even when I was cured, I didn't feel any better. It was maybe worse. I eventually had to readmit myself to the hospital and fear that I was gonna try to do it again. My second stint in the hospital seemed more hopeful, but it took a toll on the girl I was with. I bounced jobs for a while and was never able to get any consistency. Eventually, she left. And at this time, I took a job as a camera salesman and moved up to the pro position, but I still wasn't prepared for real life without her, and then thought I would just leave. Tried my stint at living in another city, but that was extremely short-lived. I stayed with my sister in Toronto, but unqualified to work as a true pro photographer anywhere and unprepared to really be on my own, my best bet was to come back to Winnipeg and just try to fit into this whole 9-to-5 lifestyle, selling cameras. While I was successful at it, my struggles with depression were at its worst, and now I was doing it alone. I finally shed all of that and decided to ask myself the question, what did I want? What I wanted was a truly new me. A person that was uniquely myself, no matter what the universe was trying to do to me. So what was that? Was that an athlete? Was that a writer? Was that a businessman? And to be honest, I still don't know the answer. I got excited by writing a script to a web series called Chrome that hasn't taken off, but even just starting that planted a new idea in my head that I have the ability to create things. While behind the camera, I didn't have to be anything, I just had to create. So with the help of friends, I created Intellectual Conversations of Single Men with Tyler and started to become a real thing. And it was awesome to even just see that I made something I was just proud of. For the first time, if I wanted something to happen, it was happening. I feel like I'm not just flailing around blindfolded and running to walls when things don't go right. Filming has felt like taking off that blindfold and walking around the wall. Also, it's bringing me close to the question, what do I want? Because if I want something to happen in a film, it happens. And it feels like the change in me that I needed. Now, I'm not a $1 million filmmaker yet, and I still have to have a real job to support myself, but at least even with that, it feels like potential. and something I'm building on my own. My story's still being written, and I know this might feel incomplete, and hell, in a year from now I might even tell the story differently up to this point, but with this camera and this story, I have choices I can be proud of.